All right. All right, guys, what's going on? Again, welcome to our training. We're gonna, be talking a little bit more about marketing to the purpose, and obviously the entire intention about this is to help you guys grow, to get your business booming a little bit more, just like mine has, because of these simple strategies. And today we're going to be talking about marketing 101. It's kind of a series, or not a really series, but I go over different tips that you should know when it comes down to your marketing. Okay, so we're going to get started just one hot second. If you catch this live, go ahead and drop the money emoji. If you're catching this on a replay, drop the number 7. So we can get started in just one quick little second. All right. Let's go ahead and dive into this. I'm going to keep this up on my phone so I can make sure it doesn't glitch out. All right. So let's have a quick conversation today, guys. Again, my name is Justin Earhart, the Bearded Marketing Pro, and today we're going to go over 5 tips you should know that are correlated to my Marketing 101 series. So these are 5 things that people typically don't do when it comes down to marketing, and this training will be 5 to 10 minutes. Whenever we do this, we want to keep this very effective, simple, and make sure you guys get the right information. So if you guys are ready to learn, go ahead and drop those money emojis, drop fire emojis, whatever you want to drop. So if you're running a business, this is really for you. If you're someone who's trying to market for your business or grow your business, then you should definitely pay attention to these different tips and implement them. Again, learning and implementation go hand in hand. It doesn't matter how much you learn, how much you know, if you don't actually implement anything, right? So if you're running a business, or you're trying to be more successful with your business and scale it up, or if you're just getting it started, all of these tips will absolutely work for you. There's 5 major components that you truly need to follow to make your marketing a little bit more effective. What's up, Mike? Mike knows some of these things because I've been talking to him about it, but Mike will tell you some of the strategies I talk about are small fixes that do pretty good. So tip number 1 is you have to know your audience. Who are you actually marketing to? One of the biggest things people talk to, or I talk to that sometimes their marketing is falling flat. They're like, hey, my marketing doesn't work. I'm like, well, number one, who are you marketing to? I'm marketing to everybody. Like, okay, I want to help everybody. That doesn't work. Mike runs a business, for instance, and since Mike is on, I'm going to use him as an example because this will help Mike a little bit more too. So that's the perk of showing up to these live trainings. I typically will help you in your specific industry. So Mike has a very specific niche that he goes after, right? These are typically going to be, and Mike, I may be completely wrong, but those graffiti artists, right? The ones that do complex, crazy, insane fucking designs, but are cool as shit. And it can be anything from spray paint to markers to pens, lots of different content. He has a Shopify store that he sells this to, and he runs traffic and he runs ads and gets people to purchase these. So knowing that Mike has these types of graphic artists, like, it's not a graphic designer like my people are. I consider these to be graphic artists. Now imagine Mike is marketing his business to financial services people, right? Like to people who sell insurance. Is Mike going to have much success? Absolutely not. So you have to know who you're talking to and what they care about and why they should care. A lot of the times people don't even recognize that they have a specific problem that you can solve. And when you start marketing about why you solve problems or the problems you solve and why they should be paying attention to you, that's where you're going to have more success overall for your business, right? So if you don't know these things, then how can you obviously expect people to tune in, to turn around and say, hey, this is the guy I need to buy my shit from? A social media presence is not just a way of communicating with potential customers, it's also an effective marketing tool. So whether it is your organic content or if it's your paid traffic, you should be using, I use my personal Facebook all the time. That's how I get most of my clients and meet with most of my clients, is through a personal Facebook strategy. So besides your paid business page, Instagram, and your personal stuff should also incorporate business posts about how you're solving problems, about how you're helping people. You don't need to bombard them, and you need to be more focused on providing value over, selling stuff. So again, just knowing who you're talking to, how you're solving problems, and using social media and the presence of that. Where your market typically is. That's another thing too, is like you have to know who you're talking to, but know where they're at. And that's why I use a lot of Facebook, because that's where I get most of my business. Could use more LinkedIn, but it's just not my field that I really mess with. So With social media things like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, you can obviously use these social media platforms to target your audience and receive a message. So when you know who you're targeting, you can use these platforms to target people more specifically. That's one thing we talk about with targeting, retargeting people who've actually purchased before, creating lookalike audiences and custom audiences in that realm. Number two, content is king. And this is a big thing. You have to create good content. So knowing who you're marketing to matters. It's one of the most important parts. So that's number one. But creating great content is absolutely king. This is one thing I saw at Mike. His content's pretty solid. On the ads that he has that I was looking at, there's content that's doing really well. The newer ones, like, hey, just change this thumbnail out on a video. Because the thumbnail, when you're scrolling, is the first thing you see, then the video starts playing, right? So changing minor tweaks to your content is something that could absolutely help you get more customers and get more people following your content, purchasing your products, whatever the case may be. Ultimately, yes, content is king. This is something that I have personally shifted. We've been in business, at least, putting stuff out to the marketing world and started the Bearding Marketing Pro about 18 months ago, right? And probably less than that. And what we did from our original brand is we just shifted our brand to be a lot better when it comes down to creating content and also how our brand looks and the content looks. And it's something I keep getting great compliments on recently, and it's awesome. So sometimes just simple shifts of knowing that the content is king is still the realm that you have to focus on. So you're not going to obviously go into business with someone who doesn't spell your name correctly or know who you are. You're not going to or let me say it this way. People are not going to come to you if they don't know who the fuck you are. So if they don't know what you do, how you help, how you solve problems, if they don't know that you're bringing value, if they don't know what products you sell, what services you offer, they're never going to come to you. This is a huge flaw that a lot of business people have, is when they use social media, they only use their business pages. Like, well, I don't want to use my personal page. Well, your personal page absolutely does help, because if people don't know any of that stuff that you do, they're never going to come to you. So make sure you have that. Make sure it's understandable and earn people's trust. I think a lot of small businesses are obviously being thrown under the bus due to government regulations, COVID bullshit. So we have to stay focused on helping small businesses together. That's why I typically only work and do stuff with smaller businesses. I still have to use bigger chains and stuff for periodic crap. But for the most part, when people trust you and they like you, they're going to do business with you. And you should be generating content that earns people's trust, that gets them to see that you're a transparent company, and be consistent with that. Because when you actually follow that TTC method, that trust, transparency, and consistency, people will know that you do business and they want to do business with you, right? So number three is you have to have an opinion these days. And this is something that some of you guys are like, oh, I'm not going to speak up. Well, number three, have an opinion is not going to be for that 95% of chicken shit people, right? So it can be hard to be in business as well as have individual opinions, especially in today's environments. People are afraid to post or comment or say something because of the cancel culture bullshit. I don't give a fuck if cancel culture comes from me. They can literally go fuck themselves, right? People don't like I cuss. I've been called out on lives by people like, you shouldn't cuss. And I told them, don't fucking listen. Because at the end of the day, that's how I am. It's my opinion is I curse. I have done it for years. I'm not changing, right? A lot of times we have this flaw in business that if we just tailor ourselves and keep ourselves quiet, that people aren't going to do business with us, when the absolute opposite happens. Everyone's trying desperately not to be offensive. Now, I'm not saying be an asshole and be like degrading people, but we're so afraid of offending people with our opinions that, it's a noble thing. Like, oh, I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But what it does truly is it kills creativity. Look at a lot of these comedians, and I think Dave Chappelle has come out with it. Kevin Hart has come out and said it, that cancel culture has killed the comedic creativity that they have, because they're afraid to fucking say anything, and they don't even want to anymore because they get so tired of the social media bullshit that comes up when they make a joke, right? Or they say something. People are like, oh, that's offensive. That's part of the massive fucking problem. So there are some things that just need to be said, man. If you have personal beliefs of the way things are going, like, I think a lot of the COVID restrictions are fucking stupid. I think the government is overreaching in things. And if people don't like that opinion and don't want to do business with me, good, you're not my people anyways, right? So if you're not going to say it and you're not going to speak up and have a backbone, have an opinion and beliefs, and you're afraid to stand for those beliefs, then you're going to fall for anything, right? So one of the greatest things you can do today, in today's day and environment, to separate yourself from everyone else is one thing I've seen. Andy Priscilla, myself, Aaron, I cannot remember his damn last name right now, but Mike knows a lot of people too, and him and I are in the same circles. But when we start seeing these people who are willing to speak up about their beliefs, and even if you are for COVID and for restrictions, it's still okay to stand up for that. That's the good thing about it. And I think that's what people get misconstrued about having an opinion and having beliefs, is that just because someone objects to your beliefs means you don't like each other. We need to get past that shit, but that's a whole other thing. So again, be willing to stand up for your beliefs and have an opinion. I know people are like, how's that marketing 101? Because you just have to start standing up for what you personally believe in, and your people will come to you. Don't have to, degrade and bring down other people just to have an opinion and have beliefs. Number 4, testing. This is one thing Mike and I talked about the other day, is that we're going to start focusing on testing different aspects. And testing is a big thing in marketing. Never assume that something works until you've tried it, and then you tried it again in multiple variations. Once upon a time, people used to assume that the world was flat, for instance. Nowadays, people assume social media doesn't work for business, but it does. Typically, it doesn't work because you're not testing, you're not creating the right content, you're not putting it in front of the right types of people. So when there's so many different platforms out there, there's so many different marketing strategies and marketing angles or things to talk about, most people fail and realize that, hey, you know what? I need to make sure that I'm actually getting out there. I'm having, conversations with people. I'm making things happen, right? Like, I'm going to test the way that this creative looks versus this creative. I'm going to test this brand versus this brand. Why do you think my brands change, right? I know it's like some of the brand colors when you start creating content doesn't work as effectively as the new stuff. So testing gets shit done, but you have to be willing to put in the work to test stuff. A lot of times you're just like, oh, I did 1 or 2 things that didn't work. It doesn't happen that way. And that comes to point number 5, and we'll wrap up with that, is you can't give up. It doesn't matter if it's your first time, your millionth time, testing has to be a consistent thing that you do with your marketing and your business. You have to test different email campaigns. See, maybe does adding an image make it work? What do the headlines look like? Even the most experienced marketers make mistakes, right? I don't have 100% marketing effect. Really, you're going to have more losses than wins, especially if you do it right. But those wins, when you do have them, they're going to be learned and improved on, and they're going to be optimized, so you have bigger income coming from it. Sometimes people do mess up on purpose, because I wouldn't really say they do it on purpose. If they're good, I'm not going to talk about shitty people, but I think there's one of my good friends had a recent issue with marketing, and it went horrible, and people just lied. So then the next thing they did, because I can't get out because I don't want to give away too much information for it because there's some legal stuff. But people will sometimes fuck up on purpose to make things worse for their clients. So you do have to be aware that if you do have someone for marketing, that you're not going to just be stuck with them and know what they're doing. Okay, just know that sometimes your numbers may be screwed or skewed by the people, so they make themselves look better, or they say, hey, your numbers are X, they look horrible, and this is what they look like now, like lying about stuff. And they do this on purpose because it gives them something to improve upon, or in their eyes. So, but for you don't need to give up. Even if you do marketing by yourself, you have to continue to push through. There's always lessons to be learned when it comes down to your marketing. You have to sometimes see what works, and this is kind of a bonus tip 6, is track analytics. Analytics is very boring. People don't like doing it, but when you track analytics and you say, okay, when I had this ad creative did X, Y, and Z, this one did ABC, right? And I'm going to look at them and see the analytics, see the numbers. A lot of people don't like tracking analytics. They don't like to keep going. They want to just keep posting random shit and then say marketing doesn't work. So anyways, guys, those are the 5 strategies that you can follow on to the 5 little tips. Again, number 1 is know your audience. Number 2 is create good content. Number 3 is have an opinion. Number 4 is test everything. Number 5 is don't give up. And number 6, the bonus one, is make sure that you're tracking analytics. So now that we're wrapped up, review, do, join, go. Review these tips. Watch this video again. It'll be on YouTube later tonight or tomorrow. Look out for the blog content that's related to this, or rewatch this Facebook video. Join my free group if you're not in it. Like if you see us on YouTube, join the group in the link. If you're in my group now, congratulations, you're already there. And again, you can go to my website, schedule a free consultation at yourbmp.com. And hopefully you guys have a great night, and I will chat with you all later. Have a good one, guys.